Hey everyone, welcome to Ajay and Nathan Discuss Movies, a show in which we discuss movies both old and new. Today, unfortunately, Nathan is out, but he will be back sooner than later. Today, we're discussing a new film that just dropped in the theaters this past weekend, and that movie is titled Good Fortune, directed by the one and only Aziz Ansari. The film stars Aziz Ansari as Arj, as he's down on his luck, he's living in his car, he's going through the the horrors of living in today's society without any sort of job security. But that all changes when a guardian angel, played by Keanu Reeves, grants him a wish to switch his life with a wealthy CEO named Jeff, played by Seth Rogen. Arj played the assistant for Jeff for 1 week before he was unceremoniously fired by Jeff. So the film is basically a documentation of Arj's life in Jeff's body. So I did watch this movie over the weekend, and I have to say that I enjoyed the movie. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, I enjoyed it. To me, when I left the theater, I thought as if this film was basically the most well-funded student film I've ever seen. Because with a cast of this nature, Keke Palmer, Seth Rogen, Aziz Ansari, Keanu Reeves, with a script that's a little bit underbaked, I felt as if this was definitely the most well-funded student film I've seen so far of this year. So yeah, I enjoyed the film. I thought it was a pretty fun film. In terms of the positives I'll give to the film, I thought Aziz Ansari did well in this film. He was the main role. And once the film got rolling, once we were able to delve more into his life as the wealthy CEO that Jeff played, that was played by Seth Rogen, I felt as if it really elevated his not only acting chops, but also his dialogue. There are times in this movie where I was really laughing, not just internally, but externally as well. It was a rather empty theater, so the laughs definitely did carry. But I thought the dialogue was really good. I thought the characters, the performances were also really good. Keanu Reeves does the Keanu Reeves thing, in which his inability to act in a more sincere way in films of this nature really elevate the comedy that he's presenting on screen. And I also thought the cinematography was really good as well. The cinematographer was responsible for movies such as Splitsville and Blink Twice. And at no point did I watch this movie thinking that it was not of quality to be shown in theaters. A lot of times when you're watching comedies, there are times in which you're watching it and you think to yourself, yeah, but the video quality is grainy, it's not great. You can just definitely tell they just turned a camcorder on, similar to how I'm doing right now, and they just started filming for whatever reason. But it wasn't the case with this movie. Everything was well intentioned, despite the fact that it was filmed digitally. Despite the fact that it was filmed by an Alexa 35, it still felt as if it belonged in the theaters. But in terms of my positives, that's sort of where it ends. There are moments in this film in which I really wanted it to be better than it actually was. Part of it was the lack of dark humor that was in this film. Yes, I understand that with Aziz Ansari, with his works, you're not really expecting dark humor, right? When you watch Master of None, when you watch Parks and Rec, for lack of a better term, it's very much Obama coded, if I can get away with saying that, where it's very hopeful, it's very sort of passionate, it's very sort of leaving your experience while watching those shows feeling very hopeful and resilient for a better future. I feel as if with this film, when you're dealing with class consciousness, when you're dealing with wealth disparity, dark humor would have really shined in those moments, right? Because that's how the working class really gets away with living in those decrepit conditions. To me, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but to me, I felt as if The Materialist did a better job at dissecting class consciousness and wealth disparity through the use of dark humor as opposed to this film. I actually laughed more at The Materialist than I did through Good Fortune. Now, that's not to say Good Fortune's a bad film, but I definitely did feel as if those themes and ideas were more prevalent and more present within The Materialist than they were with this film. Another issue that I had with it was the pacing. I felt as if the pacing with this film was lackluster, to say the least. While watching this film, when the first act ended, right? I'm not going to spoil it, but for most of the first act, you're sort of seeing Arj down on his luck, and then Keanu grants him his wish, and his life is forever changed. When I looked down at my phone, I thought, okay, we're an hour in. It will progressively change from then on out. It was literally like 30 minutes. And when I saw that, I was thinking, wow, this is going to be a long movie. So the pacing definitely didn't help with the movie. And in terms of the ending of the film, I feel as if Arj, played by Aziz, got the short end of the stick. Meaning, when the film ended, there were still issues that were yet to be resolved. I'm not going to break down too much of the ending of the film because I do implore you guys to watch this film, and I do want to make sure that original comedy films get their light of day in the theaters. So I will grant you that wish, and I will let you guys watch it, and you decide for us to whether or not the ending was underbaked. But I felt as if there was a lot more that could have been done that wasn't done within the ending of the film. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed the film. I would suggest you guys to go watch it. It could have been better, but for what we were given, it was adequate. So those are my thoughts on the movie. I know it was a rather short review, but that is what is to be expected when you are only the sole individual that is reviewing these films. The bookshop has been updated, so please check out bookshop.org to see my recent pick. It is the book written by Michael Bamberger, known as The Man Who Heard Voices, in direct reference to M. Night Shyamalan's process of making Lady in the Water, which is still an exhilarating read. I read that book in an entire day yesterday, so it really goes to show you just how amazing that book is. But I'm excited to see what's to come in the movies. I know that Bugonia is coming out next week, so chances are I will probably watch Bugonia next week. But other than that, guys, that has been our show, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.